Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to NBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Monday to you. I got to be honest, as I always am on this program with you guys, the audience. I was driving home today. It was about 7:30 this evening. And after seeing schools 11, 12, and 13, we did the Douglas County run today. We did Alexander, Lithia, and Douglas County. We're driving back home. We're going through Atlanta. We still got an hour left on the road, and I got no topics. I got nothing. And I'm like, damn, dude, I really, really do not want to do a show tonight. I don't want to do these things. I don't want to come out here. I'm not prepared, right? I don't have enough energy. I don't have enough juice. I'm not me. I'm not ready to do this show tonight. And then I got to thinking about two things, right? One was a little story that N'Kobe Dean told on ESPN First Take, I believe it was, the morning after the first national title. Said his freshman year, he was going through class and he's going through that first fall of really going through class for the first time, like actual class. He's a mechanical engineering major, not some slap major. That's like real school, right? He's going through his first freshman orientation and classes and everything. He's got fall camp going on too. So he's trying to really dive deep into a defensive playbook, and he's got all this stuff going on with class, and he's just overwhelmed, right? He's just absolutely overwhelmed. And Kirby Smart, he said he noticed this. He walked over to Kobe. He said, Kobe, I see you, you look a little overwhelmed, son. Everything all right? And he was like, yeah, man, coach, I got all these classes and, practice or whatever. And Kirby stopped him. He said, hey, look, man, nobody cares. Nobody here cares. It's just it's the life now. That's what the world is. The world and what you have immersed yourself in is go get it. Nobody cares. Nobody cares how tired you are. Nobody cares how much workload you got. Nobody cares what you are. Your responsibilities are your responsibilities. Nobody cares outside of that. So tonight is a representation of nobody cares. We're just going to do that. And the other thing I kind of revolted back to is it's kind of supposed to feel uncomfortable. If you listen to anybody talk that's successful at anything, they talk about uncomfortability, being comfortable, being uncomfortable, right? Being in situations where you're not necessarily prepared, or maybe you're not necessarily confident about what you're doing, but doing it anyways and conquering that fear of uncomfortability. So tonight's about being uncomfortable. Tonight's about doing something we don't want to do. Tonight's about promising and coming through on promises that we made to you guys as an audience. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, 9 p.m. We're going to be right here, right? We had these mental thought processes on our way home, but you can have all the self-talk in the world that you want. You can tell yourself these things all the time. You can be as positive and as energetic as you humanly possibly can be. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to be enough. I don't care how mentally strong you are. It's not going to be enough unless you surround yourself with great people as well. Okay, so I'm going through all of these mental stripes. I'm struggling mentally to get prepared for tonight's show. And all of a sudden, I got a list full of topics from my producers. Shouts out Christian Kirby and Jonathan Williams. Okay, I got a list of topics from those guys. Now all of a sudden, I got a rundown of a show that I'm juiced up about. Okay, and it doesn't stop there. I get home, as soon as I walk in the door at 8 o'clock, 8:30, getting ready to do the show, my wife's pressed me some coffee, okay? So she's made me some coffee, and we do this thing, gentlemen, you pay attention here. We do this thing as couples where wherever our, she's got notebooks, she's got calendars, wherever in the house, we always leave each other notes, right? Pick me up notes. Hey, honey, I love you. You're doing a great job. You look beautiful today, right? Write it somewhere. She might find it 3 weeks from now. She might find it 3 hours from now. She might never find it. It's not the point. The point is when you're thinking about them, let them know you're thinking about them. So ironically enough, we get the coffee pressed. We get the nice note from the wife. We're juiced and ready to go to the night show. But it came to, and this is not a philosophical show. This is a football show. Y'all come to me to get football opinions, and I am the film guy. But I came away with this today. Okay, as I'm struggling mentally to prepare myself for tonight's show, and we're super juiced up now as we kick it off, right, at 9 o'clock. But 8:15, 8:20, 7:30, 7:45, we were not feeling this way. And now I've come away with this thought process. Ready? Here. If we give you nothing in the rest of your life from this channel, listen to this right here. Ready? Okay. You are only as great as the thoughts that you allow yourself to have and the people you surround yourself with. Okay, self-talk is vital in this world, folks. It really is. What you tell yourself you are, you probably will become. Okay, but the other thing is who you surround yourself with. That's it. That's the most important thing. Get you a daggum team, guys. Get you a daggum team. I heard Joey Diaz say this the other day. He said a lot of these people nowadays, they think you need 20 folks around you. You think you need a team, this gang of folks. You don't need that. Give me 3 or 4 people, I'll take over this world, right? Give me my wife and 4 or 5 good homies. We're going to take over the world, and that's the plan, man. I'm super juiced up for tonight. And again, not where I was, but as long as you give yourself positive self-thought and you surround yourself with great people, you're going to be all right in this world. And I'm super excited about tonight's show. We got some great ones. As you can see by the title, we're going to talk a little bit about Vegas, right? What they put out some lines today, or as of recent, both on game lines, individual game lines, and some Heisman odds. Don't know if we're going to get to the Heisman odds. I think they're kind of fugazi anyways, but we're going to talk about those things. Also going to talk about high school staff that I saw recently. I think success leaves very distinct clues. I don't think there's any secrets in this life. I think they're right there in front of you if you open your damn eyes and pay attention. Okay, so we're going to talk about that as well. I also got a story, a parable, if you will, that I picked up on the recruiting trail today whilst at Douglas County that I want to share with you about a great Bulldog. Okay, I don't know if he's ever going to play meaningful minutes. Okay, but he is a great Georgia Bulldog, and I think we need to tell you that story tonight that we learned on the trail today. And we're going to talk a little Colorado Buffaloes because since we're talking Vegas, I don't really get some stuff that's going on in Vegas out there recently with that. So I told you, I think success leaves clues. I don't think there are any secrets in this life. I think if you do it the right way, if you pay attention to the right people, you'll figure it out. Like you'll find these things. And I have to be very, very careful talking about this next program that I'm going to talk about because I get one of 2 reactions from other high school programs around the state of Georgia. Some of them are not necessarily envious, but a lot of them go, hey, what are you talking about? Screw that guy. Okay, whatever. Okay, and then the other reaction is, okay, give me more. Hey, what is that guy doing? What did you notice? Right, and this is I'm going to talk about Gainesville high school football tonight. And if you're not here to listen to high school football, that's okay, because this also applies to college football. A lot of these things that he's doing at that program, there are really, really smart college football coaches that I talk to that are going to spend time at Gainesville this summer just to get a little bit of whatever this guy's got. Okay, and his name's Josh Niblett. And if you've learned anything about me, I like to take from these folks. I like to be around people that are one of them ones. And this is one of them ones, okay? This is a football coach, not unlike Kirby Smart, where if you get around him, you know immediately. Like, you know immediately. I don't know how to explain this. I wish I was a good enough wordsmith to bring this to you. But this vibe around super uber-duper successful people, particularly men for me, I've always been like this. As soon as I'm around someone that's got like a special juice or aura about them, I'm gravitated to them. I think we're all like this as humans. This is one of those people. And there's a lot of comments that are going to come about this, right? There's going to be, oh, well, he brings players to his program. Newsflash. First of all, no comments on all of that, but everyone does. Look around any program in the state of Georgia right now. I do this for a living. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to see 41 programs this spring. They will be a different 41 programs this fall. They will look entirely different. So this idea of, oh, he gets great play. No, it's not about that. It's about the stuff that we notice when we go out there, right? And here's what I'm going to lay it down for you. And I've done a terrible job of this because I just looked at one comment and took away with it. It's not about that. It's not about the facilities that he has now at Gainesville. It's not about the resources. And for that matter, it's not about that at the University of Georgia. Okay, it's not been forever in college football whoever spends the most wins. That's not how this works. Okay, look at the recruiting. Look at the NIL money. Okay, look at the schools that are spending it. They're not the ones winning. They're not. You know who you don't see in NIL news? Georgia football. No, Georgia football players not there. It's everyone else, right? But it results into product on the field. So don't get all this twisted about you got to have the best facilities to win or you got to have the best players to win, because they don't. Gainesville High School does not have the best football players. They were up a 7-point deficit in the state title game against Langston Hughes, a football roster that had, 24 Division I football players last year. Okay, roster to roster, man to man. They were 30 points better than Gainesville last year. But that was a 7-point football game into the fourth quarter. Okay, and a lot of it is because of what I'm about to tell you. There are very few football coaches, Kirby Smart, one of them, that I've been around that I have noticed do a tremendous job of looking at things from a 10,000 foot perspective, right? Being able to change the macro of the program while also being able to identify the micro issues within the program. What is an example of this? An example of this, if you go to Gainesville High School, you will listen to the rhetoric about what time they practice, okay? Their players have now been trained, okay, over a year and a half to know that morning practice, good. Afternoon practice, bad. We don't like afternoon practice, coach. We like to get it in at 6 a.m. in the morning, okay? Because we want to have our afternoons to ourselves to do whatever, okay? We want to get into the weight room at 6, coach. Okay, that's punishment now at Gainesville. If you miss practice, if someone shows up late or whatever, whole team afternoon weights. This is blasphemous. This mindset, this 10,000 flip, this view, this mindset of flipping the entire schedule. It is not new. It is not new to football. Chip Kelly invented it in Oregon years ago. Okay, this is not new. What is new is having 16-year-old kids bought into the process of 14-year-old kids bought into the process of we need to make sure we're doing everything we can to have that 6 a.m. lift. That's goofy. That's goofy. But that is a minor example of this. Hey, he's got that 10,000 feet theory figured out. He sees it all from up here, and he can get everybody to buy into that massive vision, that massive change of culture, right? That's that 10,000 view. But you listen to him talk, you listen to him coach football, okay? They have two what they call vitals in their program, right? Blocking, tackling. Simplest thing ever, right? I find this in Kirby Smart too. Kirby Smart will take what I know for a fact is the just most complex viewpoint of football, and he's got it. He can think it at this super high level of calculus, but also coach it down to know that it really is just blocking and tackling, right? You have to be this massive thinker. You have to be this beautiful mind. You have to be constantly innovating, constantly changing your program, constantly altering your practice schedules, constantly altering your weight room strategies, constantly trying to figure out how you can get better as an individual, right? While also keeping the very minute things about football right in line. Like that to me, man, those to me are the success, like the leaves of success, like the little tea leaves of success. That's where I pick it up. And by the way, we learn these things from all over. Okay, it's not just Gainesville. Okay, I get asked all the time, like, where are some programs that you love to go? Look at the list. The list of 41 is of the schools that we're going to this month. They are not just there because they got great football players. Also, they don't just have great football players, they got great coaches. Probably why they got great football players. The programs in this state, the high school football programs that put out talent, they do it every year. There are no secrets to this stuff. Growing up, man, I used to think like all the cliche stuff was not for me. All the cliche shit, like all the coach speak, if you will, all that stuff was not for me. The older I get, I kid you not, the older I get, the more and more I realize this life is about simple shit. This life is about waking up and doing what you don't want to do, right? This life is about the 10,000 and the micro. It is about everything. It's about all the small things that lead up to the big things at all these successful programs. I was telling Coach Niblett this, and I used Kirby as an example too. I think this idea of, oh, coach sees everything. Coach got eyes in the back of his head. I think that stuff's overrated. By the way, I think it's also false. I think it's a falsehood. Coaches can't see everything. They won't see everything. But the best coaches I've been around, they see the right thing. They see the right thing at the right time. Their eyes are always in the right place. Their eyes are always in the right place, and they're always coaching. And that's what I find. An example of this, okay, is Kirby Smart. I think I've told this story. I don't know where I've told it, but I know I've told it. I don't know if I've told it on this network. If we have. If we haven't, you're getting to hear it again. Or you're getting to hear it for the first time. I'm sitting in the box. National championship game, TCU. They're beating the shit out of the Horned Frogs. Y'all know this. It's halftime. What does Kirby Smart always do at halftime? At home, folks, nod your head, answer in class. He goes and does the halftime report. DJ Shockley, Dogs Radio, all that good stuff. ESPN does the hits, right? 9 times out of 7, that dude is running to the locker room because he's trying to get that damn interview done and get it over with so he can get in the locker room and talk to his guys, right? Not every single time I've ever seen him, I watch him. Runs almost in a dead sprint to the locker room, stops at those two microphones, does it, boom. 9 times out of 10, he beats guys off the field. Yet all of a sudden, homeboy is sprinting. I mean, dead sprint to the middle of the field. I'm like, why? Why is he sprinting to the middle of the field? Sure as shit. Jalen Carter, right there, about to get into a fist fight with somebody from the TCU Horned Frogs right before the half. Okay, TV didn't catch this. Nobody, I don't even know if anybody in the building caught it except for maybe me. Okay, but Kirby Smart saw it. Kirby Smart saw it the one time he needed to see it. That's what I'm saying. It's not about seeing everything. It's about seeing the right thing, right? It's about seeing the right thing at the right time. But yeah, man, I think it's like every coach I've ever been around, they want to talk about how they want practice to have a bunch of juice, how they want practice script to be filled with nothing but competition periods, how they want to flip morning schedules into 6:30 and get guys bought in to working out in the morning so their bodies can be fresher in the afternoons, how they talk about wanting to get guys to be students of the game, right? These are things that I hear at every single stop I go to. Guys, y'all aren't watching enough football. Guys, y'all aren't watching enough film. Guys, y'all need to get in here. Guys, y'all don't need to be missing weights. Guys, that locker room better be clean. Okay? Everywhere I go, it's the same sentiments, right? But it's the few programs that do them all and do them all every single day. You know, I got a bad habit about wearing a hat crooked. I don't know what it is about my head. I just want to put it on the side of my face. I just want to pull it over there. I don't know what that is. Welcome in, guys. 17 minutes. I don't even think I told you to like, rate, subscribe, review, do all that good stuff. It's been a good show. It's going to be a good show. We got some more stuff going on. We're going to talk about some of these lines and all that good stuff. I don't necessarily believe SEC football coach on the text messages right there. Not to flex on nobody. That's an op, though. That's an op. Georgia folks, y'all don't want me responding to that one. But we're going to have to respond to that one here a while. But nonetheless, got a great show planned. Hit that thumbs up button, do all that good stuff. I told you, we don't necessarily buy into all the Vegas stuff, but it's worth looking into. I got another story from the trail for you. It's at Douglas County High School today. Shouts out Hudson Barbecue. Okay, if you haven't, Hudson's Barbecue, or Hudson's Hickory House, excuse me, over in Douglas County. Need to check it out. Also need to check out the merch store. Links in the bio. If you want to shut up, grind the tape shirt, come get you one. That's right. Logos on the side. We got golf hats too. We got golf polos. I would be wearing my Cutter and Buck golf polo, but it's in the wash because your boy shot 40 on the front 9 yesterday in it. I'm telling you, if you want to throw darts, if you want to smoke darts, don't care. Do it in the Film Guy polo. You're going to be cooler with it. I promise you right now. So check that out. Links in the bio. If you've been one of these folks for some reason that wants to wear the logo and wants to let people know that you're out here grinding that motherfucking tape, then go on, get you a shirt. Also, I don't know if you guys know this, but I am a phenomenal photographer. Not even like semi-pro. I am a professional photographer. If you haven't caught on yet, it's probably because I don't know if I do a good enough job of like bragging about all the talents that I have. Okay. That's facetious. I definitely do all of that. But I'm thinking about opening a line of merch, not necessarily a merch, but a line in the merch store where we can sell our photos pre-framed. So you can buy the photo that you like from our collection. It'll come to you nice and glassed and encased and in a frame. If that's something you want, by God, Bubba, I got it coming for you. Again, I don't think people realize it. My photos are excellent. Okay, absolutely excellent. Would love if you would love to buy them as well. Story from the trail. My first ever high school football game I ever called was in 2019, I believe. Douglas County High School hosted Hillgrove. Okay, it was colder than piss. I mean, so cold. And I was standing on top. Shouts out Stream City. I was standing on top of their press box in DC, calling my first ever television game. And it's not even, I wouldn't even call it television, streaming high school football. I don't mean to demean these things, but it's not television. I was not doing television. I'm not doing television now. It's not television. So it's not TV. I was not calling a game on television, but they were streaming it. And Jonathan Jefferson is playing for Douglas County High School. Jonathan is now going into his 4th year at the University of Georgia. So it's been a while since this has happened. And that day, I mean, I knew he was physically talented. He was coming off of a knee injury his junior year, his senior year. The tape was kind of touch and go. The performances were touch and go. He just wasn't quite himself, but he was a Georgia football player. At that time, he was committed to the University of Georgia. It was obvious this dude was going to go play at Georgia. Since then, he's not really gotten on the field at the University of Georgia. Has always been a football player every single spring, summer, December, January, doesn't matter. Georgia fans always asking me on the Discord over there on patreon.com/Brooks Austin, hey, Brooks, do you think John Jefferson's a name we might see in the portal? And you know what? He's never budged. He's never not once moved. And I talked to Coach White out there at Douglas County High School today, and I was like, hey, man, your boy Jonathan, I think he's going to get some playing time this year. Like, that dude's going to get run for the first time in his career this year at the University of Georgia after 4 years. He's never once batted an eye. Never once have I heard about him maybe potentially entering the portal. And Coach looked at me. He said, you know what? I coached DeAndre Walker at Langston Hughes, and I personally thought DeAndre Walker was the best football player I'd ever coached, I'd ever seen in my life. And it took him 3 years to crack the lineup at Georgia. So I told Jonathan, I said, Jonathan, you have to understand, if you're going to go to Georgia, that is not a place you're going to play. Not early. Okay, that is a place you're going to have to earn playing time. That's a place you're going to have to develop first and then get on the field. And guess what, buddy? Once you get on the field, everything will take care of itself. And you know what? As a 17, 18-year-old, it's real sweet to look your coach in the eye and say, yeah, I know, coach. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to win me a job. And in your mind, you're thinking, it might take a year. It might take 18 months. I'll get it by my spring, my sophomore year. Don't worry. The fall of my sophomore year, we got that shit. I'm gonna be playing, coach. Don't worry about that. Hell, there's some kids that think all that stuff's fugazi anyways. They're going to walk in and start day one because they're the guy. I'm him, right? But no, for a 17, 18-year-old kid to know what the deal is, to know that this is not the place that you're going to walk into and play day one, and not only know what the deal is, but to then accept the deal, work towards the deal, and keep working towards the deal. That to me is what damn good dog is, right? That's what the term that y'all use all the time. That to me is what it means. Did you go through the process? Did you have the ups, the downs? Did you ride it out? Right? Are you a ride or die? Right? It's damn good dog, but it's really ride or die. Did you go through all that you needed to go through, and did you grow where you are planted? All right, that is what Jonathan Jefferson has been doing at the University of Georgia for a long time. And I hear all the time about portal this, portal that. We told you 48 scholarship football players at the University of Georgia have transferred since 2019. Okay, 11 is 12 is 23 plus 15 is 38. 38 of those 48 have come in the last 3 years at the University of Georgia. So ain't a lot of them starters either. It's only been like 3 of them been starters. It has become a sport and an environment where tapping out is not only encouraged, but it's almost like so you almost get like clapped and revered on your way out. And I think it's ultra refreshing. I think it's what great programs are built upon. Guys like Jonathan Jefferson. You probably don't even remember John Jefferson signing. You probably don't even remember watching John Jefferson highlight tapes or anything like that. John Jefferson is a guy that was number 18, 20, 17, 16, whatever it was, on the list of 26 commits on 24/7. You probably don't remember him. You probably don't think about him on Saturdays. But it's people like that programs like Georgia are kind of built upon. And by the way, if you watch G-Day and if you watched our film review, John Jefferson playing his ass off up in that box. So shouts out John Jefferson, man. I didn't necessarily miss on the eval, but definitely missed on the person. And I'm regretful for that. I was new into the game. I don't think I'm going to miss any more of these, or try not to in terms of missing on the personal evaluation. I have missed and will continue to miss on the football player. We make football opinions. That's what we do. Okay, as scouts, as evaluators, whatever. No evaluator in this world bats 1,000. Hell, most of them don't even bat 500. And if they act like they do, if they act like they're the smartest person in the room, they're not going to last for long. Okay, so I don't like to do this. Okay, or I don't like to act like I'm never going to miss, because I miss all the time. I hate missing on culture. I hate missing on people, because that's the specialness, right? I mean, ripping through, oh, that's a good stunt. Oh, he's got great hands. Oh, coach, he can really bend. That's great. That's all good stuff. Every single Georgia football player to come through the building has some type of physical gift that God blessed them with, but that is not why they survive. That is not why they thrive. That is not why they succeed. They succeed because of all the intangible stuff that I pride myself on trying not to miss on. Another example, Champ Thompson. Okay, I saw Champ Thompson, the Clemson commit. I saw Champ Thompson last summer. Okay, at a padded camp over at Parkview High School. Little did I know, he was fresh off of his first day cleared to play football, fresh off of a knee surgery. Hadn't really been conditioning, but dude, he was gassed, puking like nasty, sucking, tongue out, dragging on the ground. Not a great performance from Champ Thompson that day. I walked away thinking, no way. And then I see him a year later. Okay, granted, new school. See him a year later, totally different human being. Totally different human being. Effort level, completely different. Attention span, a completely different. Twitch, completely different. Okay, attitude, eye contact, all the stuff that your Little League coach coached you up on, right there in the flesh. And I'm like, you know what? Every single time I'm like, I write it down. I'm like, that's why you do it. That's why you go to as many schools as you can, because you can't do these. Like, you can't see one guy, make your opinion, never circle back. Because if you don't circle back, you're going to miss. You're going to miss, and you're going to miss on the developments and the changes every single time. So shouts out John Jefferson, and shouts out Vegas for these game lines. And shouts out you guys for listening tonight. Hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you're commenting in the chat. Little sidebar here. Booked flights for Elite 11 finals out there in LA. So we're going to get a first up close and personal look at Dylan Raiola. Therefore, you will as well via video in this platform. So that'll be fun. Be looking out for that middle of July. Also, OT7's out there that week in LA. So your boy's going to be pulling double duty middle of June, rather, out there in LA. This weekend, okay, so tomorrow we got Cobb County. So tomorrow we're going to go see Kennesaw Mountain, North Cobb, Walton, and Kell. And then Wednesday morning, we're getting our butt up and driving down south. We're going to see Houston County, Perry, Warner Robins, Northside, okay, and Peach County. We're going to sneak that one in as well. And then Thursday morning, 6 a.m., we're going to be at Colquitt, okay? And then we got to go to Lowndes and then Valdosta, and then we're going to come back up to Lee County. And then Friday, okay, we're going to go to Norcross and Buford. Okay, that's at Norcross. And then Saturday, we're going to go to Carrollton for the Elite 11, okay, regionals. Okay, so Saturday, we're not going to really see any dogs, not any 2024 dogs. Okay, but we'll possibly see a 25 dog, maybe a 26 dog over there. Okay, and then, so it's a loaded week to be over here. Don't know when in the hell and how in the hell we're going to fit in content on this channel. I'm thinking we're probably going to have to miss Thursday's show because I'll be on the interstate driving back home from Lee County until about 1 o'clock in the morning. Unless you guys want to do some type of like Twitter space while I'm in the car, that'd be kind of dope. Just keep me up. Hands free, of course, 12, if you're listening. Shouts out Popo. So whole overview right there of what's going on this week. Loaded week, man. I love this week for a lot of reasons. A lot of it mostly because South Georgia football. South Georgia football is what it's out to be. And Atlanta, Greater Atlanta football, I find sometimes can be about the machine. Kids are very aware of cameras. They're very aware of how good they are at football. They're conditionalized. They're conditionalized for attention. They're conditionalized for the things that football brings you. I'm telling you what, man. There's something about them South Georgia kids. It's just like they don't know that. It's like they don't know that 2023 social media and football exists. When I go down to South Georgia, I feel like I am in a place where football's most truest roots are still found, if that makes sense. Y'all talk about for the love of the game. Like, I love college football because people playing for the jersey and the colors and all that. That is still what South Georgia football feels like to me. When I go to these places and I see these kids and I watch them play football and I see how much it means to them. That's what it's all about, man. That's juice. That fills me up and gets me going the rest of the year. We're going to talk about these game lines. Probably should. Georgia apparently has been listed as a 15-point favorite against Florida, Ole Miss, Auburn, and South Carolina. Checks out. I mean, absolutely checks out. I don't know how in the hell a Florida Gator fan has any optimism. And I don't do this to do this, but I'm gonna do it. They went 7-5 last year, 6-5, a couple of games maybe over 500 with a first round dude. Okay, they're gonna start Graham Mertz this year, and I don't know. And really, honestly, it's a shame because I watched them on tape and was like, they're doing the right things. They're obviously trying to be a carbon copy of Georgia defensively. That's fine. But they were playing the young guys in the spots that they needed to. They were siphoning through the roster and getting rid of the bad eggs. Did you know Brenton Cox was dismissed from Florida? They were getting rid of the bad eggs and doing the things that they need to, playing the young guys where they need to. But I'm going to tell you what, the momentum, if there ever was any in Gainesville, petered out so damn fast. And I should have been on alerts here and I'm not going to name any names. But when I went down to the Jacksonville game this year, man, them Florida beat reporters, they were not on the Billy bandwagon, okay, at all. All right. And not that beat reporters carry weight or not that their opinion matters that much, because how arrogant would I be to sit here and say that? But boy, was that narrative already downhill there. I mean, they were talking about him. Why he ain't a good football coach. And I'm watching him from an X's and O's perspective. I think Billy Napier's a pretty good football coach. But damn, if there ain't no juice down there now, none, not a single national correspondent in this world is going to bat for Billy Napier right now, which means that ass on a hot seat. Hot. Just letting you know. Y'all probably already knew this. So yeah, that doesn't surprise me. The Ole Miss line, a little bit surprising to me. I don't think any football team that runs the ball as successfully as Lane Kiffin should be getting beat by 16 points, okay, on the road or whatever. If they want to play that game conservative and keep it under the line, they will. If they want to try to win, they'll turn it over and they'll get their brains beat in. But Ole Miss should be able to come in, run the football, and keep it within 4 scores, okay, I would imagine. Auburn, interesting to say the least. I'm going to give it a shot there. I'm going to watch and see, because I do believe that, I mean, we can say what we want about the escorts. We can say what we want about coaching a football game in a hospital bed in the rafters. Yes, this happened. Google Hugh Freeze, hospital bed, Liberty. Funniest shit you'll ever see today. Funniest shit you will see today, bar none. Hugh Freeze sitting in a press box on a gurney with a headset on. Out of this world ridiculous. Say what you want about the dude. Coaches football. Coaches football scores points. So we'll see. But yeah, they're going to get their brains beat in by Georgia, I would imagine, too. South Carolina. Now, South Carolina is going to be the thing. Okay, they're the media darling. Okay, as they are every year. And it is because I mean, people like me, we buy into Shane Beamer. I buy into Shane Beamer. I know Kirby clearly has some first down mother in him towards Shane Beamer. But I think he's a good football coach in the sense that I would play for him, okay, and I would play hard for him, and that matters, okay, over a 14-game schedule, 13-game regular season schedule, whether or not you can convince 19-year-olds to show up every day and play hard, that's kind of the gig, you know what I mean? And he's really, really good at that. So I wouldn't be surprised if South Carolina, after last year's drumming, can find a way to put together a football game, but you ain't sneaking up on Georgia. Now, Shane Beamer is not going to sneak up on Georgia. All right, that's the one thing I've kind of admired about the last 2 years for the University of Georgia, because it is not common, not only at your program, but even with your head coach currently. There was always a 2018 LSU on the schedule where you just didn't show up. It made no sense. 2017, you got your brains beat in Jordan Hare, and then you by a football team in Auburn who was clearly not as good as you. Okay, we came to find that out 3 weeks later in the Dome. Okay, and then 2018, same thing. You don't show up at LSU. Okay, they beat you by 3 scores? I mean, that game wasn't even close within 2 quarters. And then 2019, you don't show up against South Carolina. 2020, there was a whole bunch of different stuff going on, quarterback room nonetheless. You finally have another national title contender in 2021, and you avoid any of that nonsense. You walk through the schedule. So something happened in that 2021 season that created that in 2022 as well, right? You handled business all the way up until Ohio State. You went into every single football game in 2022 heavily favored, and you mollywopped everybody except for Missouri. Okay, and I wouldn't even say Missouri was you coming out flat. I would say that Missouri Tigers team played the best version of football they did in 2022 for 2.5 quarters against the University of Georgia. That happens. Okay, national championship teams find a way to come back in those second halves. But yeah, I think the most impressive thing for me over the last 2 years, I should say one of the most impressive things, is the ability to avoid that. The ability to avoid what the hell happened to Georgia today? You know what I mean? Because it seemed to have happened or have had happened in previous regimes for sure. You would have seasons like that under Mark Richt, where you look up and you're like, damn, Georgia's 7-5 playing UCF in a bowl game. What the hell? You know what I mean? Like, it would happen like that. Nowadays, it doesn't seem to happen like that at all, even week-to-week basis, a day-to-day basis. Again, nobody cares. Do it. Show up, do it, work harder, right? It's just all those little bitty things that you hear him repeat over and over again from a coach speaks perspective. I think it's the reason they maintain excellence. Again, I'm cliches are cliches for a reason they work. What else we got? The 7.5 point favorite on the road in Tennessee right now. I think these are all courtesy of DraftKings or FanDuel or one of the websites I can't gamble on because I'm in the state of Georgia. Shouts out to the dude getting your boy through a 20-hour workday or how many it is at this point. It ain't the dew, baby. It's the coffee. What are we talking about? These betting lines, 7.5 on the road, Knoxville, Tennessee. It's the only trip up on the schedule for me when I look at it from this date right now, May 8th. When you look at the schedule right now, Tennessee's the only game. You're like, oh, yeah, that roster is at least ready. That environment is ready to give Georgia a test or at least try them, right? I think it could happen. Here's one thing. I am definitely a Carson Beck believer. I am a Carson Beck truther. I think I have been not necessarily on the Beck bandwagon harder than anybody, but from a Georgia, this guy gives a lot of opinion space. I don't think anyone's hammered Carson Beck as hard as I have since about 2020. All right, we've been on that. That is a great football player. He's a great thrower of the football. But what I don't know about Carson Beck is who he is on Saturdays when, like, it's loud and shit is not going well. And I don't think Georgia knows that about him. And in fact, I don't know if Carson knows that about him right now. You could say Carson knows that from I've been competing on the SEC against the best players on a day-to-day basis in high-intensity environments in practice. Oh, I also was a competitor and I won at a high level in high school as a preparatory athlete. I guarantee you Carson Beck is a confident athlete right now. Okay. But maintaining that confidence through the first storm is basically what creates you as like the new version of yourself as a football player. Okay. Because as athletes, particularly like predominant athletes, dominant athletes, the first time that storm comes as like your play, not you got benched or you didn't get the start or you're the 2 or you're the 3. No, he's already conquered those battles. But when you get the job, when it is yours and things don't go great, what happens then? I'm not saying he's going to shake. I'm not saying he's going to rattle. I'm not saying he's not going to come out and throw for 4,500 yards in the midst of the storm anyways. I'm just saying we don't know, right? And I've never veered away from telling you things I don't know. How could you know? How could you know what the competitive environment of Carson Beck or competitive spirit right now in the SEC environments looks like from Carson Beck? You don't. Okay. And you probably won't until that game, that Knoxville football game, which I would perceive to say is not great. Like I would want, if I were a football coach, I would want to have my team battle tested before we go in there. And who's to say you get battle tested at all before even the SEC championship game this year? Because the schedule is that bad. I think if you look at that Tennessee schedule, they might be a 2 or 3 loss football team by the time they get there. They got to walk through it themselves before that Georgia football game, I believe. So, yeah, man, the game lines, they check out. They make sense. As far as Carson Beck with the Heisman odds, that makes sense too. Look, I'm here to tell you. If you're the quarterback on one of the best teams in the country, your ass going to be getting bets in Vegas to win the Heisman. I think it is very plausible. I said this the other day on Twitter that Carson Beck puts up 4,200 yards and is a top 20, top 15 NFL draft selection. Guys, Mitch Trubisky was a first-round draft pick. That dude put up 13 games of mid at Chapel Hill for UNC, and he was a first-round. That motherfucker got drafted before Mitch Trubisky or before Patrick Mahomes. All right, so this stuff happens way more often than you think, okay? And that football player in particular on that offense, Carson Beck's going to put up numbers this year. Numbers, okay? And he's beautiful. He's beautiful. 6'5", 230, one of one, not one of one arm, but he's like one of four, right? He's not Anthony Richardson. He's not Pat Mahomes, but he ain't Alex Smith. You know what I mean? Like this is a thrower. This is a thrower of the football. Okay, this is a great thrower of the football and a physical looking football player that's going to do great things this year, I would imagine, in this offense. So that makes sense to me. What doesn't make sense to me is this shit in Vegas that I see. Did you know the Colorado Buffs, okay, the 0-12 last year, Colorado Buffaloes are the 6th most bet football team to win a playoff game entering the 2023 season. I'm here to tell you right now, Vegas, cash those fucking cards. Pardon my language. We're 42 minutes in. Wow, that one slipped out. Cash them. Cash them right now. If you are out here dumb enough to put money on Colorado to win a playoff game this year, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know why you just didn't give your money to a good cause. Why just donate it to, anything except for that. They're going to be better, okay? But I don't care who you are. I don't care how much roster turnover you have. You do not have 20 scholarship players in May and think you're going to win a national title or a playoff game in January. That's not how this shit works. That is not how any of this works. This takes time. Even Dion will tell you this. This takes time. This takes year-over-year residual growth. There are no overnight national championship successes in college football. Zero, except for Auburn. Okay? And I don't even think a Superman Cam Newton can win a college football playoff at this point. Okay? That dude in that Auburn team, do y'all remember how many miracles they had to survive? They were down 21 points in the second quarter against Alabama that year. Philip Lutzenkirk and RIP goes off in the daggum second half to win that football game. Cam Newton goes off. All right, so these ideas of just miracle football teams getting into playoffs and winning, that joint is not happening. Not until you go to 12, and then it's a one-of-one game, and it's just hey, anything can happen today, right? Any given Sunday. Yeah, any given Sunday. But right now, any given Sunday with Colorado's schedule means they got to go 12-1 this year and win the Pac-12. Guys, shit ain't happening. Not happening. Again, do better with your money, America. Do better with your money. Put it somewhere much, much better. Speaking of much, much better, shouts out my wife. Shouts out to the producers, man, for getting your boy juiced up and amped up to do tonight's show. Hit that thumbs up button while you're here. But I do want to tell you why we got a pretty substantive, large. While we have a large audience right now, I do want to tell you, it's coming. Okay? It's coming. We are inching ever so closely to y'all flipping the camera on this channel one day and being like, whoa, what'd the big head do? The big head did some stuff. Up to something season. We appreciate you. We love you. We'll see you next time.